Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot. The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by Media Clip, Advertech Printing, and Independent Photo Imagers.
Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Hans Hartman, who is well known as an industry consultant, but also for the Visual First conference, which happens every year in October. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, Hans, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm living in part of the country where it's not steaming warm and fog in the morning, a little sunshine in the afternoon, cannot be worse.
There you go.
It's going to get hot in October, but not now in July in San Francisco area.
So the Visual First conference is like the networking destination for the imaging industry in the fall. That's where people kind of plan their schedules around. This is what number is this for the Visual First conference?
It's the 13th edition, so we've done it 12 times before. Yeah.
Okay. And so you can talk a little bit about the format. You've got a co-chair that works with you, and can you talk about kind of what the objective of the conference is?
Yeah. Well, I guess like most conferences, it's a combination of education, meaning in this case, in our case, it's educating, getting really thought leaders, very smart people on stage who are pointing in the direction of where technology and our photo and video industry is going. So there's that, you learn a lot, what's up and coming. And it's not just the topics, it's also the who is who.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of new players are coming on board. You can meet with them personally because of, it's still a fairly intimate affair, up to 200 people who typically attend. So that's the education part. And the second part is that you alluded to also, it's a great networking event. It's a day-and-a-half conference. At the end of both days, there is also a reception, there's lunch, there are breaks, there's a lot of ways of people getting to know each other. But first and foremost, we try to put a program together and get really thought-provoking speakers. So you also learn a lot attending the conference.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Dead Pixel Society actually hosts a coffee meetup on the morning before the conference in a place yet to be determined, but we'll be announcing that soon. But that'll be the morning of October 20th.
And very well attended, as far as I know. I haven't personally been able to attend because that's right before the conference starts, but I hear great stories about it and see your photos about it. Everybody who's in the photo printing part definitely attends your coffee.
There you go. So, but there's also been another change, and it's a change in the venue. It's been at the Presidio for a few years. There was places before that, but now it's changing completely to an entirely new venue. Can you tell us where it's going and why it's going there?
Yeah. So where it will be, it's actually the headquarters of a public television station in the Bay Area, where people from around here all know it. It's KQED. It's one of the largest public TV and radio stations in the country. And they have a fabulous facility. They totally refurbished it 3 years ago. It's all state-of-the-art tech. Mm-hmm. For the very first time, like I said, we've done it 12 years. For the very first time, it's actually sort of a staged area. You're sitting in the theater instead of everybody sitting on the same floor and looking at somewhat small screens. This is a gigantic screen. It feels professional. There's also a very big screen when you enter the venue. It's almost like a Broadway kind of things where the sessions are also being streamed, and in the breaks you see other video and info there. It's just a step up from the technology and the AV that we have historically done. And I attended the conference. Actually, one of our moderators, Elodie Mailly, she has moderated various sessions in the past. So she's the CEO of an organization, Catchlight, which is focused on promoting visual journalism. And I attended one of her conferences. We're at KQED, and I was just, that's exactly the size of what our conference is and the kind of facilities that I really like. So I said, hey, can you introduce me? Because, it's not a commercial venue that rents their space. So can you introduce me to them? And they liked what we are doing and said, hey, yeah, you can rent that facility. And we basically have 70 or 80% of the whole venue, 4 floors high. There are separate meeting rooms. There's a great rooftop terrace where we can, do our receptions. So it's all very nice. We've always been sort of in a grassroots kind of venues that had their charm. They were also next to the bay, the Presidio or Fort Mason. I always loved it. We don't want to say anything negative about it, but we don't want to be a boring hotel show, and you can do it anywhere. This is
right.
Part of the San Francisco heritage. So we really wanted to do that step up there. Anyway, that's where it will be this year.
Yeah, I think some people are going to miss the kind of spilling out on the lawn on the Presidio sort of thing that people did on the breaks. And then you have to kind of, wrangle them back in. And then, of course, there's the beautiful view of the bridge and everything that was there at the time. But I'm sure that the KQED facility is very nice. Now, where is that located in relation to the Presidio?
It's in what's called San Francisco Mission. So there are a lot of startups also in that area. It's also not that far from the Warriors Chase arena there, so it's a little bit more towards the bay side, but a little bit more farther away from the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge, a little bit more south there. It's sort of a in development area there, so it's new for a lot of people from out of town.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the trends that are kind of driving the program these days, because I remember a couple of years ago, generative AI was the big hot thing, and it was the first time a lot of us had even seen it. Now, of course, it's exploded everywhere. And you're not really an AI show, but there's always sort of AI running through it. And so can you talk a little bit, especially Agentic AI seems to be the phrase everyone's using today. What is that, and how is it different from the other flavors of AI we seem to be hearing?
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, technology is just a thing that people worry about because they're thinking about, how can we ultimately make money with products and solutions that cater to our customers. So AI is not a goal per se for what we cover there, but we have covered it very early on. You might remember we had, one flavor of AI that started at least 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's called computational photography, where you use AI to make capture devices smarter. So for instance, at that point, we had Alex Schiffhauser from Google, who was their main person driving the product management of their computational photography in their Pixel phone. And that was the time that the Pixel phone had only one camera on the back, as opposed to iPhone already two cameras, and was capable of making better bokeh effects than the iPhone itself. So computational photography was one thing that people said, whoa, you know what, that means that smartphone or the photos that are coming from the smartphone are going better and better and better. So that was one thing.
Almost too good, actually.
Yeah, well, but certainly, and it will get even better. There are things on the way now that, for instance, last year we had, which is interesting, we had glass imaging, and these are ex-Apple guys who actually, that's funny, they actually were the team responsible for the portrait mode in the iPhone, and they have their own company, a startup, Glass Imaging. They actually raised, not too long ago, did a round of $20 million, and they use AI to actually make lenses in smartphones even better than what's currently available. So that's with a lot of AI. Some things started maybe 5 or 6 years ago, some things started 1 year ago, and you see a lot of benefits, or you saw a lot of benefits when it came out, but then these things keep still going on as well. So computational photography is still on the way. Image recognition, we had quite a few speakers talking about now, how can I not just find whatever, all the photos with a cat in my collection there, but it has gone a lot farther than that. What are my best photos, or what are photos that I would never care about, and delete them or put them in a separate category. So image recognition was a thing with AI. Generative AI, we were very early on, and I know a lot of people in the audience hadn't even heard about that term when we had a fireside chat presenter from Barcelona showing what it really was and early examples on that. So, and that's still sort of in our audience, in our sort of ecosystem, that's what most people are now very much setting their teeth in, generative AI solutions. How can you create photos from scratch, or excuse me, images from scratch, or how can you have a photo that was taken with a camera, whether it's smartphone or a digital camera, and make it better through generative AI. So that's still very much the focus of what a lot of people are doing, and
Right.
a lot of improvements are happening there, particularly also on the, well, both on photo, but also that's the very latest. You see a lot of generative AI for video. So you can make the creation of video and the editing of video easier and easier.
Mm-hmm.
But so what is now not that well known yet or you don't see that many examples yet in our industry is what's called agentic AI.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very much the buzz in Silicon Valley or in AI land. And that's the idea. It's not that you just give a prompt, like a text prompt or a photo prompt, and say, hey, make an image from that. But you actually say, hey, you know what? I want to have this and this accomplished with that video. Make it whatever, make it look more retro, or make it work with my audience that has this and this demographic. Just change that photo like that. I'm giving a
So it's more conversational in the prompts, or how?
It doesn't have to be, but there could be. It could be tied to chatbots. And so there's more back and forth in explaining. But I think the core idea of agentic AI is instead of saying, this is what I want, or this is how you need to do it, it's more you give a goal for what you try to accomplish. And then that agent is pretty darn smart and say, okay, I'm going to grab photos from here, or maybe with this photo, I'm going to apply these and these kind of effects. And in essence, you're removing an interface. I mean, people don't even have to. It's almost like zero-click,
right?
Imaging or photo editing, or it could also tie to printing. Like, you know what? This is my supply chain. This is the kind of orders that I have. Go figure out how I can send jobs back and forth. So you will see it in printing. You will definitely see it in photo editing.
So it's sort of independent of a specific platform almost. It's like you're giving it a task, and then it's going to go do the task independent of specific instructions.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great way of summarizing it. And you as a user, you don't care how it does it and what kind of tools it uses, assuming it has access to these tools. It can go on the web. Maybe it only uses stuff that is on your computer. So that's has created a lot of buzz in the technology world in general.
So it'd be almost like an example would be almost like, I want to book my flights to Visual First. I'd like to stay near the Mission District, and the AI knows what airlines I like to fly, where I'm flying from, where my points are, what hotels I like to stay at, and it would just go do that.
Yeah, exactly. And so those kind of things are being developed outside our industry, and that is people in our industry to sort of notice, like, hey, what, can we not do anything in our environment?
Right.
And our goal, at this point, it's not that much of a trending topic yet in our industry, but it will be in October. I am very, very, very sure about it. So we already have two fabulous presenters lined up in a panel specifically to that. We had them speak once at a virtual edition during COVID there, but basically they do it with video and along the lines of what you just described. Basically say, hey, this is what I want. Go find some stock photos where the video is a little choppy, or get rid of the pauses. I mean, figure out how to make this video better. So they actually have already something in place there. And then the second one that we just signed up, last week, is Eric Yang from Topaz Labs, who to do this in a photo editing workflow solution.
Yeah.
So we very much it's actually, this is one of the panels. Normally, it's very easy to fill in a panel there because, lots of potential candidates for particular topics.
Mm-hmm.
This was a harder one to fill in. So we're really going out of our way in asking, hey, you know what? Are you already thinking about developing an agentic AI solution? Is there something you can publicly already talk about in October?
Mm-hmm.
And I have no doubt that we'll have a full panel, meaning 4 speakers coming up, especially given the quality of the first 2. But it's funny because it's, like I said, it's sort of percolating, it's beginning to create awareness.
I'm sure a lot of people are working on it. It just may not be ready for prime time yet, right? I mean, that might be one of the issues.
Yeah, exactly. They might just, try it out a little bit, have the smartest engineers play with it over the weekend and come up with some ideas, but it's not prime time yet, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that's agentic AI, and that will be a big, I think, well, you never know before a conference what will be sort of the buzz at the conference, but I think this will spur a lot of thinking.
Right.
And the other topic, I'm very, very pleased that we can finally really zoom into that, is this idea of, we call it the enduring appeal of retro. So retro and vintage mean that you've seen all kind of things happen in the past, and lots of naysayers, maybe including myself at times, say, hey, you know what, this is a fad. People will get tired of, my photo needs to look like a vintage photo, or why would I buy a film camera? I mean, there's all these benefits of smartphones or digital cameras. So for the longest time, people thought, you know what? Yeah, it's trendy 5 years, 10 years ago, or, outside imaging, people buy LPs and, record players there. That will come and go. But retro, it keeps growing and growing. And in our industry, the biggest example of that is the, Polaroid, and then I would say in particular Instax, how important it has become.
Sure, absolutely.
So we're also very pleased to have then the VP of marketing, Ashley Reeder, of Fujifilm, who's been very specifically involved with all the Instax marketing and knows the demographics and done lots of research, like why are people so interested in, are they only youngsters? Are they also older people? I mean, there are lots of questions there that she will share her light on. So that's one in our retro panel.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because, it sort of doubles into sort of like the resurgence in traditional film that has happened over the last few years, right? It's the same idea where people, I think, of a certain age who kind of lived through that age and made the transition to digital would think, why would you even go back? I mean, I know photographers who are like, I'm never going to load a camera again with film because I did that for 20 years and I'm never doing that again. And but there's others who are like saying, and I think it even goes back to what we were talking about computational photography, right? Where it almost makes the pictures too good, where people want the authentic experience of imaging, right? Where, what's more authentic than an instant print?
Yeah. This resistance against too good or too easy, that's part of the allure. There are even apps for a phone. You take a photo, but you cannot view it until 24 hours later.
There's a few of those.
It attracts a certain audience. Fujifilm came out with the half-X digital camera that also have an option that actually delays you being able to see too many photos at the same time.
Right.
And then going back to film specifically, so we also have Ken Curry, who you might know from your PMA days, who is the general manager or the president of Ricoh Pentax nationwide. So he will talk about, they're basically the only film camera company that's coming out with new film cameras.
Right, exactly.
Not just like a resurgence of the old ones.
Pentax kind of doubled down on that. That's kind of their thing they are known for, is kind of that authentic sort of experience. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled to hear that perspective. vis-a-vis or in conjunction with the Instax, because that might be different demographics, different use cases. So those are two interesting ones for that panel.
Sure.
What I'm also looking for is then a smartphone, and there are quite a few out there. We'll have somebody lined up very soon on that. A smartphone app developer,
Right.
where you take your photos with your iPhone or your Android phone, and then say, hey, give me these vintage effects, so that photo also look as if it was taken with a film camera. So that's in the smartphone world, as opposed to
it's interesting because the people who are doing that sort of thing, I find like Hipstamatic is one of those.
Yeah.
And they really push kind of the community side of it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. Visco is another example.
Yeah. But part of I think their business model is not just the authenticity piece or the vintage look, but also finding other people who are part of that ethos.
Yeah. That's one aspect of it. And then there are also B2C photo print providers who specifically have processes that they highlight in, take your photo and we'll make it look with the wall decor, sort of like an old kind of photo. So we'll most likely have somebody from the print world, somebody from the app world. We have the film camera from Pentax. We have the Instax for the instant. Camera printers there. So we're really finally diving into this retro theme, I think, in a very big and exciting way. Lots of people will be very interested in that. Yeah. And then maybe another topic, I think that two. If you allow me, there are two other topics. I was two of the other topics that we were covering in a big way. And like I said earlier, you never know beforehand. Afterwards, which of those 3 or 4 or 5 things I'm mentioning now will be the buzz of the conference. So we'll see what that will be. But another one that times we sort of touched upon is, how do all these video solutions, whether it's from a camera or an app world, how does video now gets a place in the world of photos? So we call it the photo and video convergence panel. You see solutions that almost everybody who has a photo solution now is at least thinking, if not already has some kind of element of what they're doing is videos as well. Cameras, actually what drives a lot of camera sales is also having the video capabilities and the vlogging, etc. So you have cameras, you have editing, almost editing app. Almost every editing app or software has both photos and video capabilities. And you see it even up to printing, where you see more and more, finally, I would say, more and more augmented reality solutions being folded into printing. So you have this nice photo book of your vacation, in your case, in Aruba. Your photo book there, but then you hold your camera there or your smartphone there, and you click, and then you see this cute little video, and you were laying in a pool and whatever you were doing, probably in conjunction with a beer.
Yes.
But anyway, so even the print world, which normally you would say, what do they have to do with video? But that's becoming part of visual storytelling. And that's, I think, important that also the print world really thinks about. You don't want people to say, well, the real way of visual storytelling is videos, and we are not part of that, and you will be left out there. So even there, people are thinking about the place of video. So that panel will specifically talk about how are these two worlds merging. Some of them start with photos and added videos, but there are actually also some video solutions. We have Hypno in that panel. They started with a video solution first, and then there's a way to get photos out of it, or Instax 360, Insta360, the 360 camera. They started with video, but you can also make it very, very easy to extract frames, and you have single photos there. So anyway, that's another topic.
360 action cam, and it's actually quite I use mostly in my last vacation of Aruba. I actually mostly use that, and actually it's quite a good stills camera.
Yeah, it has always. These guys are amazing. We had them. I mean, they've been around, I think, for 12 years or so, and they just
went public.
Yeah, they went public with a valuation of $10 billion. I don't know if that's still the case, but really like totally amazing there, where the valuation of a GoPro is a couple of $100 million at this point. So it totally blew them out of the water. And we had them speak when it was like a very early startup, like a 3-year-old startup. They won the Best of Show and Tell award. And I'm very pleased that one of their co-founders, who is the global VP of marketing, he will also be speaking in this photo and video panel. So anyway, that's going to be an exciting theme. Like, what do we do with video? For the guys who are coming out of the photo world, what are we going to do with video? Can we stay on the sideline? How are we going to incorporate it here? Best of breed examples.
Sure. Yeah, because it is one of those things where I think, it's interesting, even like, Instagram started out as primarily a still photo platform, but it didn't really take off till they added video.
Yeah.
Well, Be Real is adding it. I mean, a bunch of people are starting to trying to realize that probably, photos used to be what people had to add to their platforms to make them sticky.
Right.
But I think video is what they have to add to your platform to actually make money with it.
Yeah, and it's a different dynamic.
It is.
And that's part of what I really want to explore with people who are way more into it than I am in that panel is, how do end users make decisions whether they start with taking a photo or it's a video first kind of scenario? Right. It's different with different demographics. It's different in different situations. Birthday parties, and do you start with a video and then somehow you make it very easy to get beautiful photos out of that video?
And plus, it's just a different process completely. Like if you spend any time at all looking at like influencer culture or people who do videos, there's a whole visual language there in terms of cuts and way they, zooming in and starting with it, that it's not really instinctive, and it's almost like a visual language you have to learn if you want to be really good at social video.
Yeah. If you get to that level of serious, which actually ties in, not meant as a bridge, I'm sure, but that ties into another. This is going to be the buzz afterwards of Visual First presenters. So we also have Jim Lauder back. We're very pleased in a fireside chat session. You and I know him from way back. He was the editor-in-chief of PC Magazine, but he, for people maybe more recently, he was the CEO of the VidCon event, which typically had between 50 and 100,000 creators attending every year. He sold it to Paramount. So he's like Mr. Creator Economy, knows a lot of what is trending and use cases among influencers, where is that going, and what's really the difference between an influencer and a creator. So it's a video first kind of world, but photos also have a place in that. So we're going to explore that one as our fireside chats are. It's one-on-one, or actually it's one-on-two. We always have two moderators there, but we're really, we'll be able to tap into his knowledge about where that world of influencers and creators are going. Is it all hype? Is it all low quality? There's also a lot of labels that have been put onto that world in the past, and to some extent they are correct. To some extent they are not, and it's a very interesting market if you can tap into it, because all these people, basically, that's the definition of a creator with a capital C that he's focused on. Definition, all of these creators do this because they make money somehow out of their visuals. Right. So people say, hey, I'm, whether it's through YouTube enumeration or whatever, sponsorships of companies, etc. But if you make money out of visuals, whether it's photos or videos or combo of those, it's also worth to spend some money on the best possible tools. So for our audience, And it could even be, again, think about some of your audience. It could even be there is merchandise,
Absolutely.
photo print merchandise that goes with the video. So even print fits in that world of creator, or should at least be aware of where the opportunities
Oh yeah,
are.
I mean that's what Amaze does, right? They connect creator economy with an output platform, right?
Yeah, and that's also a very interesting past Visual First presenter. We had their CEO. Yeah. So the creator economy, I think that could be the buzz of the conference. The photo and video world combining could be the buzz. Agentic AI for sure. And what else were we talking about? Oh, and retro. I think these are sort of the main topics at the conference. So
You've also got another fireside chat lined up, and that's kind of interesting, I think, to a lot of people who, from the traditional world, who want to hear that.
Yeah, Tom Hughes well, I guess most people now know him as being the CEO of RPI, but he has a very interesting background, because he was in the board of Shutterfly for quite a while, actually during the time that Shutterfly also bought LifeTouch. He was also interim CEO of Shutterfly for a while, so he knows the print world really well, especially in combination where RPI is now. He was also successful, he had his own boutique investment company, so he knows investing and the business part real well. He was a VP of Flickr in the past,
right,
quite a while ago, and he also was the founder, I think it was called Photodisk, that then merged with Getty. So he was at the roots of what became the current Getty. So he knows stock photography, has lots of opinions about that. He knows both the B2C and the B2B part of photo printing, with the Shutterfly RPI combo, and then the more advanced photographer world with Flickr. So I'm not quite sure what we will.
Well, you got a lot there to cover. I mean, you've scheduled an hour and a half for that session, right? Because there's a lot there.
Well, not totally, but yeah, it's one-on-one. You can really dive into topics with a single speaker pretty rapidly. So there's lots with him to talk about, and a very smart person. So I'd love to have him be on stage for the first time at Visual First.
Awesome. And we can't bring this to a close without mentioning the show and tells.
Yeah, because we have a great MC for that.
Well, I'm the timekeeper is what I am.
No, you did great last time for the first time.
So let's talk a little bit about the format, kind of what that is, because I think some people don't may not realize the whole story, that there's awards that come from these, there's recognition that comes from these, and there's people actually have been exited out or acquired because of their show and tell presentation. So talk a little bit about the format, what it takes to be.
Yeah. So to start with the last one, we have what we call a Hall of Fame page on our website, and I think we're like 22, maybe 23 past show and tell. They're primarily some of them are in panel, not in show and tell, but they're primarily show and tell presenters who spoke in the past and then have since been acquired. So some of them have done really well after a Visual First, not necessarily because they were discovered there, but it also shows we have a good hand in selecting show and tell presenters there. So what it is, it's 4 minutes, it's a live demo.
And 4 minutes only.
Yeah, exactly. We have a clock and we have a very strict MC who would kick you off stage if it goes on too long. But it's 4 minutes. It's not a pitch session, so you don't have PowerPoint. It's really a live demo. Typically, it's the founder, or if it's a larger company, the product owner, and they show things live and explain things in their own world why what they're showing is so unique and so good. And actually, the interesting to me, we talked a lot about the rest of the agenda with the panels and fireside chats, and we go out of our way to get the best possible speakers there. But ultimately, these live demo sessions score the highest in terms of our audience. They love it. There are 3 of them throughout a day-and-a-half conference. So it's 30 presenters altogether. People really remember it because it was live. Sometimes something goes wrong, whatever. They can kind of click the cable into their phone or their computer.
Or the internet doesn't work, or
yeah, whatever. And our audience, I mean, most of us are technology developers, so they're very forgiving in that sense. But these people really love it. They eat it up, and it's a great way. You can do also your search on the internet, and you read about these app developers. It's not the same experience to see this happening live and have the right people who really know these apps explain this, and then you can chat with them during the reception or whatever. Do more than that. So those are great sessions. They're sort of the highlight of our conference. Again, it's sort of interesting that scores the highest, no matter what kind of education and trend analysis we do on the other ones. But that's an integral part, and we really go out of our way each year. And I want to stress that, because I would save myself, as being the primary recruiter of this, I would save myself a lot of time by just asking people who have presented in the past, hey, can you show whatever is new on your end again this year, then fill it up in no time with 30, because everybody appreciates the exposure. There's no extra charge. It's just having a regular ticket there. What we do is go out of our way to get lots and lots of folks that have never attended the conference, have never spoken before, and show their stuff. So we always bring a lot of fresh blood. Lots of innovative developers that are just coming out of the woodworks, bring them on stage. So that's exciting, and that's what the audience appreciates.
And it does have an awards component to it.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, so we have 4 independent jury members. This year, the 3 that are already signed up is, first of all, Kathy Nelson, who a lot of people in your audience also know as being the founder, CEO of the Photo Managers. So she knows that world. We have, from the financial side, Rudy Berger, who is the founder of Woodside Capital, a pretty large investment bank, M&A bank in Silicon Valley. And then the third Show and Tell Awards person is Anna Dixon. She's the VP Content Strategy at Shutterstock and was Google in the past. She was also a director of photography at the Wall Street Journal and with Huffington Post. So she has a great background from the high quality photo perspective. So she looks at tools from that perspective. So it's a very varied set of judges.
Good.
And basically, we have four awards. They're trophies. There's no money involved in it, but we do publicity. You can be best of show. Like I said, Insta360 got that very early on in their lifetime. There's a best technology award. There's a best business potential award. And then there's sort of an award for whatever reason that the judges feel we need to highlight these guys, and it's called a special recognition award. So we have.
And the only way to experience Visual First is in person, because it's not recorded and no recaps or video clips or whatever. So where can people go to get information about attending the Visual First conference, which you have to go to?
Well, thanks. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And part of the not video recording is not only like it forces people to come, but it also allows people, particularly in the panels, fireside chats, to be. It's almost like Snapchat in the old days. You can totally express your opinions. You share it with this intimate community there. You don't have to think, oh, my boss or the board members will look at this 2 years from now and I said one word wrong and I'm in trouble there. So we try to encourage spontaneous, intuitive, deep conversations there. That's one reason. The second reason, also the true value of Experience Visual First is doing that networking in person as well. Yep. So without further ado, so the website is visualfirst.biz, and it's visual and then the number 1 st.biz. And you see the program, you see the bios of the presenters, and lots of other information there. And it will be held October 28th in the afternoon, except the coffee morning that starts early with Gary. Count on being there.
And there's also the Women in Imaging lunch.
Yeah, which is right after Gary's coffee. So if you are a female attendee, you have not only have free coffee from Gary, you get the lunch, which is a great way for female attendees, which are unfortunately still by far the minority in our industry and also at our conference. But they have a way to do their own networking, and they very, very much appreciated that. We've done this several years in a row now. So they will have their luncheon, and then the program starts at 1:30 sharp on the 28th. At the end of the day, reception, and then an all-day program on the 29th, and also a reception. We call it the On Your Way Out reception at the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Hans, for your time. Looking forward to seeing you October 28th and 29th in San Francisco. Looking forward to another great conference.
Likewise. Well, thanks very much for helping to spread the word and doing the show and tells coming up.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.